in the heart of a forgotten town where whispers of the past echoed through empty streets, lived a young woman named Amara. Her home was a large, dilapidated house, a relic of a happier time before tragedy struck. Just a year ago, this house was filled with laughter, the warm scent of her mother's baking, and the sound of her father's booming voice telling stories. But a sudden accident had stolen them away, leaving Amara an orphan at 19, adrift in a sea of grief and memories. The townspeople, once friends and neighbors, now looked at her with pity, their whispers following her like a shadow. Poor girl, they'd say, all alone in that crumbling mansion. The house, once a symbol of her family's prosperity, was now a constant reminder of her loss. Its peeling paint, overgrown gardens, and dusty, silent rooms mirrored the state of her own heart. Bills piled up, and the threat of foreclosure loomed large. Amara worked odd jobs, cleaning, waitressing, anything to scrape by, but it was never enough. Her parents' dream home was slipping through her fingers, and with it the last tangible piece of them. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Amara was trying to fix a leaky pipe with a wrench almost as old as the house, a sleek black car, so out of place it looked like a spaceship, purred to a stop outside her gate. A man in a perfectly tailored suit stepped out. He was tall, with a commanding presence that seemed to fill the entire street. This was Elias Vance, a name synonymous with wealth and power. A billionaire real estate mogul known for turning forgotten neighborhoods into godmeans. He walked up the creaky porch steps, his expensive shoes crunching on fallen leaves. "Amara Jenkins?" he asked, his voice smooth and deep. Amara, smudged with grease and clutching the wrench like a weapon, just nodded, her heart pounding. She knew why he was here. He was here to take her home. He probably saw the house as just another plot of land, another number on a spreadsheet. "I'm here to make you an offer for this property," Elias said, his eyes scanning the decaying facade with a professional, unreadable expression. Amara's grip on the wrench tightened. "It's not for sale," she said, her voice firmer than she felt. He raised an eyebrow, a flicker of surprise in his gaze. "Miss Jenkins, with all due respect, this house is falling apart. I'm offering you a generous sum, enough to start a new life, somewhere ... better." The word better stung. How could anywhere be better than the only home she'd ever known? "This house holds my memories," she shot back. "You can't put a price on that." For the first time, Elias Vance looked at her not as a business obstacle, but as a person. He saw the fierce determination in her eyes, the raw pain she was trying so hard to hide. Something shifted in his expression. "Perhaps not," he said softly. "May I see the inside?" Hesitantly, Amara led him through the dusty halls. She expected him to scoff at the faded wallpaper or the creaking floorboards. Instead, he listened intently as she pointed out the notch on the doorframe where her father had marked her height each year. The spot in the living room where their Christmas tree always stood, the kitchen where her mother taught her to cook. He saw not a ruin, but a home filled with love. Elias began visiting regularly, not with contracts, but with coffee and pastries. He'd find Amara patching the roof or tending to the small vegetable patch she'd started. He started helping, his suit jackets replaced with rolled-up sleeves. He taught her about basic plumbing, and she taught him how to tell a weed from a vegetable. They talked for hours, sharing stories of their lives. Amara spoke of her parents' love and Elias for the first time in years. Spoke of his own lonely childhood, a world of privilege devoid of warmth. The townspeople were baffled, watching the billionaire and the orphan fixing a fence together, laughing. The whispers changed from pity to curiosity. Elias wasn't trying to buy her house anymore. He was helping her save it. He used his resources not to demolish, but to restore. He brought in architects who specialized in historical preservation, plumbers who marveled at the old craftsmanship, and gardeners who helped Amara bring her mother's rose bushes back to life. As the house was slowly reborn, so was Amara. The dust and sorrow began to clear, replaced by fresh paint and new hope. She started to laugh again, a sound that had been absent for too long. She realized Elias wasn't just fixing her house, he was helping to fix her heart. He saw her not as the poor girl from the abandoned mansion, but as a strong, resilient woman. One evening, as they sat on the newly repaired porch, watching the sunset paint the sky, Elias turned to her. "You know," he began, his voice quiet, "I came here to buy a property, a piece of land. But I found something far more valuable." He looked at her, his eyes full of an emotion she was just beginning to understand. "I found a home." Amara looked around at the house, no longer a monument to her grief, but a symbol of her strength and a beacon of her future. The lights were on, the garden was blooming, and she was no longer alone. She had found a partner not in business, but in life. The billionaire hadn't taken her home. He had helped her reclaim it, and in the process, they had built a new one together, founded not on money or land, but on shared healing and unexpected love. The old house on the hill was no longer abandoned. It was full of life, and full of a future brighter than either of them could have ever imagined.